So this is one of the most controversial products I've reviewed on this channel. It's also one of the most expensive laptops I've ever bought for a review. And because it's so expensive, no one has reviewed it. Well, until now. This is the Razer Blade 17 with an RTX 380 Ti. And if you saw my original review, you know that I was not impressed by this laptop at all. But since then, I have discovered something very strange. There is a hidden sensor in this laptop that nobody has found or talked about. And what this sensor does is completely changes how I feel about this machine. Now, in my last video, I said that I didn't think this laptop was worth buying because you could get better performance in a cheaper laptop from Asus. And even though it looked really nice, the price was just too high. But there was one thing that really bugged me about this laptop. There were random slowdowns and frame rate drops when playing games, which I couldn't explain because the CPU and GPU usage was low. I ended up opening up the laptop to see if anything was causing the problem. That's when I discovered this strange little board over here. And when I read the writing on it, it turns out that this is an Intel CPU PowerShare controller, which means that this laptop actually has two CPUs, but it doesn't have two separate processors on different boards. Instead, this one board uses two chips from Intel. One is a regular 13th Gen i9, but the other one is a low-power i9, and these two chips work together to give you the best possible performance while keeping the laptop cool and quiet. In theory, this sounds like a great idea, but I soon realized why no one has ever talked about this before. You see, this laptop is much more complicated than any other laptop that I've ever worked on before. And because it's so complicated, it's very hard to figure out how this power sharing works and how to change it. After a lot of research, I finally figured it out. What I learned is pretty amazing. Basically, when you unplug the charger, the computer runs off of battery power and the low-power i9 takes over. But when you plug the charger back in, the main i9 takes over. But because there are two CPUs, it's possible to run programs with both of them at the same time. So when you unplug the charger, programs that need a lot of processing power will still be able to use the main i9 chip. But less important tasks will be moved to the low-power i9. For example, when I was playing Cyberpunk 2077, I noticed that the GPU was being used almost all of the time, but the CPU usage was very low. This is because the main i9 chip was being used to run the game, while the low-power i9 was being used to run background tasks. And when you look at Task Manager, it looks like the low-power i9 has 4 cores disabled. That's because it only has 4 physical cores, while the main i9 has 8. But this doesn't mean that the low-power i9 is weak. It can still do a lot of work, but it's not as fast as the main i9. This is probably why some people have reported good battery life on this laptop. It's because the low-power i9 is able to run some tasks while the main i9 is turned off. Okay, now that I understand how this laptop works, I think it's actually really cool. Being able to have a powerful main processor and a less powerful backup processor at the same time is kind of like having two computers in one. The main i9 can run programs while the low-power i9 runs background tasks, and when the charger is unplugged. The low-power i9 can take over and still run programs, but they won't be as fast as when the main i9 is running. And because of this, I think this laptop is actually worth the price. Now, if you want to learn more about this laptop, make sure to watch my original review where I go into more detail about the design, the keyboard, the screen, and the performance. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future reviews. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.